Okay, this is side 2. This is opponents of artificial intelligence. I'm going to start with a video. Here we go.
The subject of my talk tonight is about something that is smarter than you are: artificial intelligence. In fact, a lot of people who work in artificial intelligence believe that artificial intelligence 1,000 times smarter than we are. It will be moving at speeds that are 100,000 times as fast as we think, and it will be digesting information and data 1,000,000 times more than we can. What is artificial intelligence? There are a lot of confused ideas about this outside in the world. But the answer is very simple. It's one sentence. Artificial intelligence is software that writes itself. It writes its own updates. It renews itself. We normally tend to think of software as stuff that we created and that we wrote, and the machines do what we tell them to do, and we own it. This is not any longer true. It writes itself at speeds that we can hardly comprehend, and people who write it know that you can't take it apart again and figure out what it's done. It writes independently, autonomously. It develops its own way of thinking. And there are dangers associated with that. So a lot of people ask, when is it going to happen? When is artificial intelligence going to be smarter than us people? Some people say 50 years. Some say 30 years. Some say 5 years. I say it already has surpassed us in many areas of our society. Let's take, for example, some examples from right here and now, and I apparently have to point this out. Okay, the examples that we're going to talk about are not science fiction. They're not visions. They aren't things that are going to happen at some point. They're things that exist today, for example, in the stock markets, whether Frankfurt or Tokyo or New York or London. The people you see down there working on your TV show and you're watching it, they're more or less extras in a movie. They aren't doing the big moving. The big moving is being done by high frequency computers. They move so fast, they make in milliseconds billion-dollar business. Computers have far succeeded what we can do. In fact, I did a film once about a company that moved 5 blocks closer to the Frankfurt stock market because at the speed of light on glass cable, they saved so much time getting closer to the computers at the Frankfurter Stock Exchange. That will give you an idea of how fast they think and how helpless we as human beings are. You may remember the old pictures of the stockbrokers with 5 telephones in each hand, running back and forth, writing things on paper. That was way before yesterday. Computers have taken over this very, very important part of our society, a heart of our financial community. And no one understands exactly how these algorithms function. They used to understand them, but they've been improved by artificial intelligence. I don't know how many people flew in today, but if you were sitting in an airplane, you probably had 30 different tariffs and prices in your cabin because the pricing is all done, same is true of hotels, by machines that are collecting global information, making decisions within split seconds what the price of that airplane seat or that hotel room is going to be. And where it's most critical of all, we're talking about life and death, is in medicine. Computers are better than we are as human beings in several areas already today. We're talking about here and now. This is not science fiction. I'm speaking next week at the Universitätsklinikum in Essen. And their radiologists were supposed to be some of the best radiologists in Germany. They say that a computer can recognize a tumor on an MT or on a CT, MRT or CT, faster and better and more precisely than a human being can. It's picture analysis, and it's done very well by computers, especially in medicine where it saves lives. Now, the robots are getting better and better. They're looking cute. They have these big baby eyes, a sweet way of looking at you. They can examine your facial expression and adjust theirs. But don't be fooled by robots. Even when they get warm skin and even when they get perfume and they start smelling like us and getting really interesting, they are still
Never mind,
machines.
guys, I'm still.
They have no warm blood in them. There's no sex in them. They have no mortality. They're cold code lines. And they shouldn't be misunderstood. Now, I want you to understand what the power of artificial intelligence is. And I have two examples. One is surveillance cameras. Everybody knows, that we're being watched by cameras everywhere. And most people think surveillance is a camera there and it's me down here and it's watching me. One person, one camera. Well, that's because we're stupid. That's the way we comprehend the surveillance. One camera, one person. We can't comprehend it, but it goes beyond that.
Running a small business can be tough, but with ClickUp, you can easily manage your team's tasks and timelines.
This image was taken 17,500 feet above Quantico, Virginia, and covers 15 square miles.
This whole image is at a very, very fine resolution. So if we wanted to know what is going on in any spot along this image, say near this building at this intersection, everything that is a moving object is being automatically tracked. The color boxes represent that the computer has recognized the moving objects. You can see individuals crossing the street. You can see individuals walking in parking lots. There's actually enough resolution to be able to see the people waving their arms or walking around, what kind of clothes they wear.
Okay, that's pretty creepy that it can do that, right? Okay. Move to the big chair. All right, I'm taping this. Are you cool with that? Because I'll be right behind you. Thank you. You're good. Thank you. Okay, so this is side 2. Drew and I just saw Mission Impossible. The villain was AI, and it was pretty terrifying. It was just a fast-paced ride, but it was pretty scary, and that was just part 1. We have part 2 to go, right? Okay, so let's talk about AI, why it matters. Go to page 1, everybody. I'm on proponents. You should have opponents. Make sure you have opponents. Look at both, please. Opponents and opponents. Okay, so do we have opponents? Okay, so two big things, and I kind of already did this in the first class. I'm gonna start right where it ended up. Google is tracking right now. Did you know if you put your phone off or you turn the privacy settings off on your phone, Google can still track you? You know that? So if you're a criminal, how do you go off the grid? Correct. You get burner phones. You take the SIM card out of your phone. You get rid of your phone. You trash your phone. Google's tracking. Google knows all information, knows your personal private information, is selling your personal data to other companies for advertising, to the government for surveillance without your knowledge. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about an artificial intelligence tool taking your personal information and compiling that information and making decisions based on it? Got your attention? Okay. Go to actually, I want you to go to the back of your outline. What I want to show you on the back of your outline. If you go to the link on the outline of the opponents for AI, at the bottom of the outline, if you scroll down, there will be another article. Okay, so I want to kind of give you these 3 cases that I got from this article. And I really find in argumentative essays, ladies and gentlemen, if you give a real world example, boy, that can really sell your point. So number 1, of course, is Google location tracking. Due to privacy concerns, Google's location tracking practices have come under intense scrutiny in recent years. The company tracks the location of its users, that's all of us in this room, even when they've not given explicit permission for the location to be shared. So just by using Google, you've given them permission to use your information. Does that make sense? This revelation came to light in 2018 when an Associated Press investigation found Google services continued to store location data even when users turned off location tracking. So can they do that? Well, yeah, they can do it. ethically, morally, should they do it? No. It's a breach of trust and privacy. So of course, Google changed their policies when they were found out. Here's my question. Would they have changed their policies if no one knew about it? Okay. Concerns remain today. Google has access and stores the most data than any other company. They've already have a past track record of misusing your data. How confident are you in the future with them and your data? Right? So one of the biggest issues with Google's location tracking practices is the potential for misuse of personal data. So Google, they have your data. They feel that they have the right to sell your data for whatever reason, for advertising purposes, to make your life easier. What happens if your location data, which is incredibly sensitive, falls into the wrong hands, right? You know, we got a lot of incredible hackers out there, don't we? And not just here. We have foreign countries. We have Chinese hackers that come in here and get our personal information, which, by the way, is why I will never use TikTok. TikTok is not on my phone. I've never downloaded it. You are giving China your personal information if you're using TikTok. You are crazy. I would never give China my information. Yeah, they're collecting it. Location data can be used for criminal activities. Okay, so the implications of location data being leaked or hacked can be dire. Can we all agree? How do you feel about that? Right? Okay, so what's really fascinating is I found this article. You know, those of you that came to both sides today, I really find these TED Talks or these experts as really enlightening, and they kind of put it in layman's terms for me, and I could really wrap my head around it. So I want you to know I put about 60 hours into this, collecting information for you, creating the outlines, and just wrapping my own head around it. And I will tell you, Drew, I was completely floored by Mission Impossible, so maybe I saw things that you didn't. But I think this is terrifying, what AI is capable of doing without our knowledge. Does that make sense? Because you have given an AI tool the freedom to learn on its own, right? And to create solutions all on its own. You're trusting that AI tool to be ethical and moral in its reasoning. Remember, he said these are cold code. They are not human. They will not make human decisions. Let me give you an example. Self-driving cars. Have you ever seen a self-driving car without a person in it? Do you know why? It has failed every ethical, moral test it has been given. So let me give you a hypothetical situation. They have a Tesla, and the AI tool is programmed to protect the driver and the car. So let's give it an ethical scenario. You can hit a 10-year-old boy, or you can hit a concrete pillar. What's the human gonna do? Why? Because you can't murder a human being. Okay, what's the AI tool gonna do? Yeah. It'll take out the 10-year-old. The car doesn't get hurt. Nobody in the car gets hurt. Okay, all it's thinking is, my job is to protect the vehicle and protect the people in the vehicle. That's all it's thinking is. Remember, it doesn't think like a person. It thinks like a machine. Okay, so I want you to go to your lead. Here's a fascinating scenario I found for you. Okay, so there's no doubt the future potential benefits of AI. Those of you that just started with proponents with me, we did that one. But it's important to ask what costs there will be if something goes horribly wrong. Yeah, we can have self-driving cars. They're going to make some cold, hard decisions, aren't they, on the road? Right? I mean, I just gave you a hypothetical fictional scenario. What's it going to do in traffic? In a really terrible situation, right? Many supporters of future AI admit careful consideration must be made with implementation of its use. Okay, so let me give you a hypothetical. Actually, this isn't hypothetical. This is a real example. So they were testing the Boeing 737 MAX with airline pilots and AI technology. The AI told the pilots the plane was going up. Ladies and gentlemen, the pilots could see the plane was going down. They could not override the AI system. The AI tool believed its information superseded that of the pilots. Okay, and this was just a test. The AI tool would have downed the plane. Okay, so can AI replace human? No, never. It doesn't think like a human. It doesn't rationalize like a human. It's not ethical. It's not moral. It's not compassionate. It will never replace a human. Yes, can it do functions that a human cannot? Yes. But if you give it power to do things, the more power you give it, the more you're taking human control away. Does that make sense? Okay. That's my intention. Did that example express that? It's okay. So two of the biggest concerns about future AI, specifically machine learning, reflects the importance of protecting an individual's privacy, and that's body one. So the one I just gave you with tracking is number 3 on body paragraph number 1. So let me give you the rest. You don't have this article in front of you. I'm telling you, you have it at the end of your outline. So if you can just listen for a second. Dr. Mark Van Rijsman is one of those people that gives the TED Talks. Like, this is all he does. He knows more about AI than your poor Mrs. Hensel. I mean, I can wrap my brain around. Here's what he says. I'm a visionary, strategic futurist. I enlighten organizations on the transformative power, the opportunities and the risks of AI, the metaverse, and cutting edge technologies. So he wrote this article expressing his concerns. He says these big companies have amassed huge amounts of personal data. They're already using it without your consent. I'm not telling you, an expert's telling you. They are using your data in this room without your consent. He's concerned that AI will only perpetuate this. Why do companies want personal data? Google can generate millions of users, take their personal information, share it with businesses, organizations, or even the government. Why would they give your information to the government? Hello, national security. Is national security more important than your personal data? Yeah, it is. National security trumps all of us in this room. If our government says it's a matter of national security, do y'all not have family in the military? None of y'all? Really? My dad was Air Force, my father-in-law's Army, my sister's Marine. If it's a matter of national security, you're out. The government can do whatever it wants. Y'all didn't know that? Really? Yeah. Yeah. The CIA, the FBI, they can pretty much do whatever they want. Yeah. And they can pretty much have your personal information. So here's what Rijsman says. As AI becomes more advanced, it can make decisions based on subtle patterns in data that are difficult for humans to discern. Individuals may not be aware their personal data is being used to make decisions that affect them. And even though big companies are legally bound to give a disclaimer or warning, most people don't read the fine print. Most users are unaware exactly how much authorization they're allowing of their personal information when they download an app or click on social media feeds. How many of you click on cookies and just accept it? You're giving them permission to use your data. You can still look at this site without cookies. That's a little red flag. Did y'all know that? Don't do that. You don't need, it's a way they suck you in. It's a side door. Okay, so he's going to give a personal story here. Are you ready? So he's watching a show on Amazon Prime, a movie, on his television. Y'all with me, everybody? On Apple TV. Okay, so 2 days later, he receives a news recommendation related to the show that he just watched. But it's on his iPhone. So he's like, wait a minute. His background and training allowed him to recognize the only way they could do that is that they listened in or had access to his cell phone apps, which means they compromised his privacy. Okay, get this. He knows because for this level of personalized recommendation to be made, Google would need to access information from apps on his iPad. He had privacy settings on his iPad that kept them from doing that. They'd have to have eavesdropped on his conversations using the microphone on his iPad or iPhone without his consent. The average user wouldn't recognize that like he did. Would we recognize that? How many of you have done that though? Like you have some ad pop up on your phone when you've been talking about it? What was it?
I don't remember. I remember I was with my friend this one time, and we were talking about a game, and we got like an ad about it. Like,
So it just popped up on your phone?
we just thought it was coincidence. But like,
Have you had that happen? What was it?
that's a bad one.
Really? And it wasn't a red flag? Anything?
Wait, can you try like if you're in like pretend like New Jersey, would you add like ads about New Jersey, or is it like
Honey, I don't know what it could do. I'm telling you, you need to be aware and look out for it. And that's what the point, Drew. None of us in here would know what he knew, that he knew it was not okay. Does that make sense? We just accept it. And most of us are like, well, if it makes my life easier, I don't care. Right? Okay, so this highlights a massive breach of privacy. It's ethically not allowed, ladies and gentlemen, and Google did it anyway. So Google has a track record of misusing your data. What are they going to do when AI technology expands and the more personal data you have will be compromised? And to what degree? Right? Anybody scared? You should be. Okay, go back to your article. We're going to talk about body 2, which is really kind of scary here. This is biased AI. Okay, if you type in greatest leaders of all time in a Google search, you're probably going to see a list, sorry, of the world's most prominent males. You probably won't see many women. Gentlemen, ladies, is there gender bias in our culture? We ever had a female president? Why have we never had a female president? Because gender bias exists. Do you think males get better treatment than females? To a lot of things. Hello, have you seen the football program at Coppell High School? Have y'all seen that? Do you think the Coppell athletics males get more money or females? Absolutely. Right? How about sports? Is there more money in male sports? I'm talking NBA, MLB than female sports. Yes. So gender bias exists. How about racial bias? Raise your hand if you've heard a discriminatory or racist comment at school. Every hand? It's alive and well, isn't it? Right? Okay, so if you typed in a search for schoolgirl, you would probably see girls and women in sexualized costumes. If you typed in schoolboys, probably not. AI systems deliver biased results because gender biased, racial bias, stereotypes are alive and well in our culture. So who is inputting the data for AI tools to work? Humans. You just told me we have gender bias, we have racial bias, we have stereotypes, right? If we're inputting the data, is the AI tool biased as well? Okay, let me prove it to you. Go to your outline because I'm running out of time. And I apologize. I guess I got excited. As humans often show bias or discriminatory behavior and they input the data, the concern of ethicists is these prejudices will be internalized in the algorithm. And I'm on page 2 of the outline. And programmers maybe unaware they're doing it. And I don't think a lot of times it's conscious, right? I mean, gentlemen, have you ever had like a gender biased thought and you're like, oh my gosh, that was kind of sexist of me. It's so ingrained in our culture, sometimes we're unaware of it. No one can deny the potential of AI, but expecting machine learning to be an improvement on human decision-making when humans input the data is problematic. So AI chatbots, right? Similar AI algorithms are a direct reflection of the data they're input. That's because with machine learning, AI is fueled by the data humans input, then the AI trained with this data, which inherently contains human biases, and they learn how to respond. So if biased information is embedded in the program, it will replicate it and perpetuate forms of discrimination. So here's an example. A chatbot is trained to converse similarly to those comments encountered on Twitter. Have y'all seen the comments on Twitter? Have y'all seen what our former president used to tweet? It's vomit. I call it like word vomit. So the chatbot will repeat what it learned. What's it going to learn on Twitter? Is it going to learn profanity? Sexist comments, racist comments? Okay. Facebook has machine learning. It pops up ads. Okay, so you know, these tools, Netflix, Facebook, they pop up similar things. TikTok, videos that you like. Did you know it will also pop up extreme content? Conspiracy theories, polarizing information. ChatGPT. Did you know the godfather of AI, Geoffrey Hinton, left Google 6 months ago? He fears what's going to happen with AI development. So he's speaking out about it. ChatGPT, for example, has some shortcomings. They can converse on a wide range of topics, right? But think about it though. Guys, ChatGPT has the World Wide Web. You already told me the World Wide Web has a dark side, right? Can you find some really extreme stuff on the World Wide Web? Yes, so can your AI tool. It has access to things you don't. So it can go on with ChatGPT and spit out racist or sexist remarks. Microsoft has a ChatGPT comparable tool, Bing, which has a history of stating strange answers. Get this one, I love this one. It becomes unhinged, expresses anger, obsession, and even threats. Where did the AI tool learn that? Yeah. Fascinating, right? So we have China, we have the European Union very concerned about the progression of AI. They want regulations in place. Here's what's going to happen. Just like the internet, there is no regulation on the internet, right? It happens so fast. Same thing's going to happen. AI is going to happen so fast, no one's going to have control over it. Last thing, predictive policing software is used in law enforcement. Okay, so this is fascinating if it could work. So they're using an algorithm that can predict where the highest rates of crime are likely to happen and which ethnic group will commit the crimes. Can you see the problem already? What if you have law enforcement inputting the data? Do y'all remember the George Floyd incident? What did law enforcement do? Were they racially motivated? Yeah. So here's what happened with that program. They unfairly targeted minority communities, leading to allegations of racial profiling and discrimination. Law enforcement agencies who are attempting to add AI tools to catch criminals often unconsciously promote racial bias, further cementing stereotypes and social injustices against minority groups. The final thing I want to end with today, just a kind of a fun one. Amazon uses AI to recruit, to hire new people. So recently, they came under fire because the AI tool was programmed to look for education, job experience. So when a candidate didn't fit the profile, the algorithm, it eliminated them. Unfortunately, Amazon has been linked with discrimination against women candidates. The programmer who input the data trained it to consider male candidates instead of female. So here's the thing, AI tools work, but we have to remember who's inputting the data. Humans. And we're flawed. We're imperfect. And unfortunately, we have bias. And that's just the world we live in. Right? Okay, how are you feeling about Mission Impossible now? I was terrified. Did it go over your head? Which is fun for you, right? Y'all go watch Mission Impossible, okay? All right, have fun with it. Any questions? You're good to go. Oh, and leave it. I forgot I have Saturday. I apologize. Side 2 is over, everybody.